turn. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2018 Indiana Scratch Classic, brought to you by Savage Bowling TV. Hello, everyone. I'm Scott Gilmore, and the qualifying portion of the Indiana Scratch Classic just completed. We'll go over some results with you here so we can set up our finals here this afternoon. We'll begin the finals right around noon, and we'll go over scores from yesterday. Yesterday had 3 squads, and the 1 and 5 cut advanced to this afternoon here, and leading the day in the B squad was Matt Sanders with a 934. In second place was Tim Logan with 904, Gene Perez 903, Brandon Flora with 885, Chris Seyfarth, he was the A squad leader at 876, Brandon Flora was the C squad leader at 885. Daniel Freeman with 857, Dale Orinas with 852. Shelby New, she shot 843. Dylan Holford, 842. Nick Squires, 838. Jeff Snuffer, 837. Zach Rhodes, 836. John Riffle, 833. Jimmy Cook, 832. Ryan Mooney, 831. Scott Gilmore, 829. Chris Brugman, 828. Danny Clark, 828. Greg Holford, 828. Mike Lish, 824. Ryan Birchfield at 813. Jack Wynn, I missed him, at 816. And then Brandon Stogsdill, he was the final cut advancer for the Saturday portion of qualifying at 812. Then Sunday they had a 1 and 5 cut too as well. We had 33 bowlers this morning at 9:30. Leading the way, squad leader was Ryan Burks with an impressive 946, the highest score shot here in the event in qualifying. Jimmy Cook, he was already in, but he'll take this score at 107 as his qualifying score. Zach Weidman at 893. Dwayne Burton, 860. Jeff Grego, 845. Chris Curry at 813. Mike Svilar at 810. And the final cut this morning was Zach Newman at 790. Those are your bowlers that will be bowling this afternoon. We have 7 from today, 23 from yesterday, so 30 bowlers will make the cut to advance for the chance at claiming the Indiana Scratch Classic for a state title if you're from the state. If you're not from the state, it'll just be a tournament win, but if you are from the state of Indiana, you'll be deemed a state champion, so you'll qualify for the state title too as well. 30 bowlers, 4 bowlers will get a 1-round bye. That again, Ryan Burks, Matt Sanders, Brandon Flora, and Chris Seyfarth. Those 4 bowlers will skip the noon first round portion of the match play. Match play this afternoon will be an eliminator-style format. You'll have all 26 bowlers bowling, and the top half of the field will advance to the second round. That's normally how it's done. I'm assuming Jeff's going to do the same thing. Again, you're watching the Indiana Scratch Classic here via Savage Bowling TV. We're also on IndianaStateUSBC.com. And again, there's tons of upcoming events that the Indiana State USBC is running. You may go on the website, click on the links for tournaments to find out more information on those. We have the Indiana State Masters coming up, and then new for this year, live stream-wise, we'll be live at the Indiana State Masters in January, and we'll be broadcasting all of the Indiana State Queens Championships this year. We're excited about that. We'll be bringing live coverage for that event as well. But also information on how you can enter the Indiana USBC Open Championships. That'll be here at Mike Alby's Arrowhead Bowl. Beautiful center here, 42 lanes. Beautiful concourse, wonderful center here. The accommodations for a bowler, there aren't many centers in this state better than this one right here, and we're thrilled to be a part of that, and thrilled that they're hosting the Open Championships too as well. But we'll also, you can find information on the Indiana State Youth Championships, the Indiana Women Open Championships in March through May, and also the Indiana State Seniors. That'll be run April 6th through the 20th in Washington, Indiana. So we'll have more information on some of those tournaments upcoming. Unfortunately, we'll have some other commentators here this morning, as myself made the cut this afternoon. So, but we have a special guest and joining the broadcast booth today, and I'm excited about it. And hint, he is a PBA Hall of Famer. So we're excited about hosting again and bringing you all the live action from the Indiana Scratch Classic, one of the premier singles events here in the state of Indiana. There's numerous ones throughout the year, but this is one of the best, and we're going to find out here in about 3 or 4 hours who's going to take home the title and unseat the defending champion, TJ Schmidt, from up in Osceola, Indiana. He could not make the trip this year, unfortunately, but he's in Disneyland in Florida, so he can't you can't beat that. But we'll have a new champion this year, maybe a new champion. We could have a repeat one because Matt Sanders has won this in 2016, and he has a great look, and he's one of the top qualifiers and will be one of the favorites going into this afternoon. So we'll be back for some more action for the 2018 Indiana Scratch Classic, brought to you by Motive Bowling, Pinheads Bowling Center in Fishers, Mike Albee's Arrowhead Bowl, the Indiana State USBC, and Big Four Sox. Back for some more action and our special guest commentator right after this. All right. Welcome back here. Scott Gilmore bringing you live coverage on Savage Bowling TV for the 2018 Indiana Scratch Classic. One quick update. We've had a little bit of an issue with the link on the IndianaStateUSBC.com website. For those wanting to watch, we need to make sure you go to Savage Bowling TV, and you can go to savagebowling.tv, and it'll bring up our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch all of the live action on that as well. So Again, if you don't try to watch it on IndianaStateUSBC.com, we apologize for a technical issue with that, but you can go to SavageBowling.tv or just Google Savage Bowling TV, and it'll bring up our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to click on the link that shows the Indiana Scratch Classic. So, again, we apologize about that. We'll hopefully remedy that issue moving forward at other events, but that's our plan for today, to bring you all the live action until we crown a champion here of the 2018 Indiana Scratch Classic. Brought to you by Motive Bowling, Pinheads out of Fishers, Big Four Sox, Indiana State USBC, and Mike Alby's Arrowhead Bowl. We'll be back here with some more action and bringing you our special guest once again, guest commentator this afternoon, PBA Hall of Famer. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the 2018 Indiana Scratch Classic. Scott Gilmore here on Savage Bowling Television. The Indiana Scratch Classic brought to you by Motive Bowling, Pinheads, Big Four Sox, Indiana USBC, and Mike Albee's Arrowhead Bowl. And ladies and gentlemen, I have a special guest this afternoon. I'm going to bring you some action here. He's going to call the first round action here in match play. And welcome to the broadcast booth, Mr. Mike Albee.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're excited to have this event inside your center. Beautiful accommodations. I think one of the finest centers in the state of Indiana.
Thank you.
And but welcome back to the booth. It's been a while, right?
Yeah, been a little bit. Just always something going on, it seems like. But yeah, it's just a wonderful day out there and great day to be bowling.
Well, we got 30 competitors going to give a shot here at trying to claim a state title. If you're from the state of Indiana, you can qualify for a state title. If you're not, it's just a regular tournament win. But so a little added pressure, those for the guys that are from this state. There's nothing better than having that state title under your resume.
Yeah, and I think a banner comes with it too, doesn't it?
Yeah, you see him over there.
I saw him across there. Yeah, it looks great.
I won here in 2013 here, so this is one I always try to participate in. And fortunately for me, I bowled just good enough to get in yesterday, and going to try my hand here at it. But Mike, you've done everything, right? Hall of Famer, Triple Crown winner. What's it like, for these guys? You've been through all the big events. What was your feeling as you were going into maybe a TV final for a big tournament?
Well, I think it's getting yourself comfortable with the surroundings and forget the lane conditions and all that sort of thing. It's more of getting your body and your mind relaxed to be able to prepare and make adjustments. And I really enjoyed the TV shows and being part of those. So I would actually show up 2-3 hours before I was even supposed to be there. So I'd talk to the crew and just hang out and relax and just enjoy the whole set, because you don't really, if you look at your career, it's a very small percentage of your career, of the tournaments you bowled, that you actually get to that. So so I would try to take it all in and enjoy it, because there's just not many opportunities to do it.
Yeah, and anytime and obviously for you, the majors are held up at a little bit higher standard.
Yeah.
For a tournament bowler, these events like the Scratch Classic and then the State Masters are elevated a little bit. They're, the quality of players are much greater. The pool of players that participate are much larger, just kind of like some of the events you bowled in the past. And so you do put a little added pressure, because you just know the prestige that comes with it.
It's hard not to. With all the surroundings, and here we are sitting in a booth, and it's on television, and so that adds a little more to it as well, because a lot of people at home can sit and watch and play it back later and things like that. So it's very hard not to get caught up into that, and just take it one frame at a time. And if it's a good shot, great. If it's a bad shot, great. You just kind of, it's once it's out of your hand, it's history.
Yeah, and the new wave of bowling right now is the live stream, the internet. It's pretty cool what you can do. It's
awesome.
Really,
it's really nice.
It's just like bowling on television.
It's exactly like that.
The quality of broadcast is really, really high, and we're excited to be able to do this. This is the first time we've been able to bring some of the state events to the live stream portion of it. We do feel like it adds a lot of fun for the player. It's a chance for them to reach out to family who might be a long distance away, and they can watch it.
It exposes our sport to a lot of people that may not realize it's there, and the opportunities that are within our sport. So, no, it creates a lot. On a personal level, it's great for the guys and gals that are out there doing it, but I think it goes a lot farther than that, and it's wonderful.
Well, I'm going to take off here and let you kind of control whatever you want to talk about. And we're going to have the first round action here. I think they're going to use roughly around lanes 11 through 23 or 24, somewhere around there. But I'm going to hand things over to my partner, Chad. And Mike, best of luck. Thanks for your time.
Best of luck to you. Have fun out there.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Albee is going to give you the action with Chad Lester right after this. Here we go.
turn them on here in a minute. Has anybody got any questions? Okay, at this time, we'd like to take a moment and remember our veterans and what they've done for us. And we'd like to have the national anthem, so if you please stand. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to turn them on. You get 10 minutes of practice on your starting pair. Again, remember, you're going to skip 2 pairs and bowl on the 3rd. Do not throw a shot until the lanes are on. And we will let you have your 10 minutes of practice. The squad leaders from yesterday, once they begin their second game, you can warm up on lanes 1 and 2.
All right, welcome back. Chad Lester here, along with PBA Hall of Famer Mike Albee. 2018 Scratch Classic. The bowlers warming up for the first round of the semifinals, I guess you can call it.
Yeah.
They're going to bowl 2 games, and I think Jeff said they're going to cut to the top 13, and then from there they bowl 2 more games. I think they cut roughly half the field again, until we get down to the Final 4, which will be right here in front of us. And then that Final 4 bowls 2 more games for the championship.
And they just bowling on freshly oiled lanes. So it's always the hard part, starting and stopping, and fresh oil changes. So it's like starting over on A squad every morning.
Right. Yeah. What's nice about this is each time they move, each round they're going to be moving on to a fresh pair, pretty much. So. It's good for some guys, bad for others, because if you hit the fresh really well, you're good. But
and once you figured it out, you think you've got it. But when this happens, you go to fresh oil. It starts all over again, because they're going to keep changing as you go, and then you're back to where you started again.
Right. I remember one time I bowled a tournament when I bowled for Purdue, and I bowled horrible when they got dry. But the next day, we always moved to a fresh pair. For some reason, they didn't know what they were doing or something, because they could have rotated it differently, but I whacked them, hitting the fresh all the time, and ended up finishing second in that tournament. But
and that's in tournaments like these, when you have different conditions, that the guys that can make the adjustments and kind of get rid of the peaks and valleys, and kind of be more consistent and still take advantage of a condition that maybe fits you a little better. Those are the ones that are going to get there at the end, and it's very challenging.
Yes, definitely. So they're getting 10 minutes of practice here, and then we'll begin. I want to thank Pinheads for being a sponsor, of course, Motive Bowling, Big Four Socks, and, of course, Mike Albee's Arrowhead Bowl. And the Indiana State USBC, always doing a good job running their tournaments. Very proud to be a part of this tournament for the first time this year.
Yeah, Jeff Circle and his group do a tremendous job, and just they love the sport and the game, and it's not work for them. They truly enjoy it.
That's right. And we'll be back doing the Masters in February in Anderson. So looking forward to that.
Now the winner here gets a spot in the National Masters,
Yes,
right?
that's right.
The regular USBC Masters.
Yep. It's $1,500 first place plus the entry.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity.
Yeah, if you're a bowler, I mean, it's something you should enter. I mean.
Yeah, I actually back in, I believe it was '96, won a spot to the, I think it was all events back then. You got a spot to go to the Masters, and so I won the state spot.
Nice. Yeah, this is the first year where this event, they've opened it up to anybody outside of the state. Try to get some more interest. I think they might have got a few more this year.
I think a few, yeah.
But I think the future is promising if you can get some more people here around the region.
Just spreading the word, spreading the word. And you guys make that possible with
this live stream.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Right. Yeah, I think I went to the State Masters last year just watching, and I couldn't believe how smooth, match play was. As people knew where to move. Of course, there they do. I think they do just like the National Masters does, and they do the double elimination.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there was virtually no downtime. They just moved pairs and kept going. And
once you get in that losers bracket, that's a long way to go.
It is.
A long way to go.
Now we're pretty far away from the action here. We're set up behind 3, 4, 5, and 6 for the finals. The action's down 15 through 27. It looks like 28. So we're going to do the best we can with what we have. We do have just these 4 lanes for this round, lanes 19 through 22. So we have such a good wide-angle lens, we can get 4 lanes here.
Oh, that's great. It's a good start, and we're seeing what they see.
Yeah.
It's interesting watching the practice balls here, because you got some guys trying to go up the outside a little more guys deeper. There's one that's deep, and at some point, those angles are going to cross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get that carry down, and those people are, like you saw Tim Logan here on lane 21 just wheel the lane.
Yeah.
And you got to wonder what's going to happen, come game 2 or
at some
later
point,
in game 1.
Yeah, at some point there's a cross pattern that's going to happen.
Our very own Scott Gilmore's bowling down there. I didn't see what lane he's on.
Yeah, it was nice to get him out of here a little early so he could at least think about the game a little bit instead of trying to take care of this part.
Yeah, we've been at it since 7 o'clock this morning setting up, so it was nice to be able to get in here early.
This just doesn't happen, does it? You guys do a tremendous job, and I think most people probably don't realize what it takes, and that's probably a pretty good story for somebody. You guys should put that out there a little bit on what all it takes to get this put together.
Yeah. It's there's a lot to think about. Even before we walk in here, where we're going to set up, where the camera's going to go, where the electrical's going to be.
Yeah.
All that. And there's a lot of pre-planning.
I was saying it's not the day of, is it?
No. I think I came out here earlier this week and just kind of looked at things because Jeff sent us the rotation for this round. And I was like, well, I think this will work. So.
Not seen too many strikes, have you?
No, not at all. And then I didn't even see the scores this morning, but they didn't act like they were too high.
Yeah, I didn't hear too much good.
Yesterday, I was here for the first squad, the 130 squad, and the scores started off pretty high. And I was like, oh, wow. And they just slowly went downhill. Yeah. And I think, the more you put that pattern on the lane, the tighter it's going to get.
There's a lot of washouts and 210s now. That was a good look there on 20.
And Zach Rhodes.
Excellent look there.
Yeah, right
21.
there. He bowled at Wichita State, I believe.
Yeah, he's got a great game.
Yes, he does. Former Harrison High School bowler here in Lafayette.
That's the look. They're around 20, somewhere around 12 to 8, somewhere in there. Looks like you can keep it in there, but
You just got to keep it online.
yeah.
And if you don't, it's 2, 8, 10
Yep.
or wash out. You think a lot of these guys, when they're practicing, they're fishing, are they trying to break down the lane or trying to get lined
I think
up?
they're fishing. I mean, it just looks like there's just too much inconsistency in where they're throwing it to be trying to break it down.
Yeah.
And, in this type of format, team event's a different story, obviously, because everybody's working together. Here, they're all, it's every man for himself. So
Yeah.
I'm not so sure they're contemplating trying to help each other out at this point.
Right. And then, I mean, there's only 3 to 4 bowlers on a pair.
Yeah.
And you get 10 minutes practice. You can get a lot of shots.
Yeah, you can. But, the fact that they're shooting spares, and that tells you that there's a little more to it than just trying to figure out the strike ball.
Yeah, my strategy on this is make sure my spare game's good, first of all.
Yeah.
Is it,
It's tough enough getting strikes, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to keep giving up the spares, too.
Yeah, I mean, I have always said, if you have a good spare game, your strikes are going to come. You're going to get a few that are lucky, of course. But if you can shoot your spares, you're going to be right there.
I mean, it takes 3 in a row every time you lose one to get
Yeah.
back to 200. So,
That's right.
I mean, that's a lot of work, especially on a tougher condition.
Yeah.
And I saw some corner pin misses this morning, and, more towards the end. Great shot.
He's got a pretty good line.
Yeah.
And I do believe they will move either a pair to the left or right after this game. So that throws another wrench
Yeah.
into things. You're getting lined up now, but
Yeah, just because these guys are playing where they're playing doesn't mean when you go to the next pair, that's where they were practicing,
so what do you think about the survival format? So you basically just want to survive. I mean, you're not really
Yeah.
going head to head.
I grew up in the era more when it was more head-to-head and things like that, which, I obviously liked and favored that. And the Masters were those ways where, you drop pins and each time and, I won 3 Masters doing it that way, dropping the pins and just each time.
Surviving.
But I still like the fact that, especially someone who, be 600-700 pins ahead. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of work that goes to naught, you know.
Yeah. Well, just like this year's U.S. Open, what was his name?
Oh,
Jacob Buttroff?
yeah,
Yeah.
Buttroff, yeah.
600 pins ahead.
And loses the
and
last
loses.
game by
I mean,
a pin or 2. Yeah.
That's got to hurt.
Yeah, and I've been on both ends of those, so I mean it is. And one thing I think you realize when you're out on the tour or anywhere in your career is long enough, you're going to see both sides of it several times. So to me, you just look at the format, knowing what it is going in, and that's you deal with it. I mean,
Once you get to the TV finals, it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you
it's
don't
really a
want to.
whole new tournament.
It is.
Think of it that way.
It really is, and you just got to take one ball at a time. And once it's out of your hand, it's history. I mean, you can't change it, so you just work hard on the next one, and that's kind of the simplistic way to do it. But it, for me, mentally, it was the best thing for me.
Right. All right, looks like they're starting.
Yeah, I mean, for the guys not to keep throwing, they must figure they've got it, or got it figured out by now.
Let's see if Zach can keep it going here. He threw a bunch of strikes here towards the end, and there he goes with another one.
Beautiful shot. I mean, that ball looks really clean and smooth and not doing anything funny. So, I mean, he's throwing it really well, though.
Right. Yeah, he's 36 over yesterday. Overall leader was Matt Sanders. Of course, he'll have the bye. And the other buys, I think I'm looking at the standing sheets here. I'm going to assume these are buys. Brandon Flora and Chris Sayforth. And then whoever led this morning, right?
Is that
Ryan Birchfield? Is that who
I
it
think
is?
that's what he said, yeah.
Yeah. So, that was Saturday. Wait a minute. Well. Anyways, 4 people get a bye, so they'll start the next round. I was watching Matt yesterday, throwing urethane right off the gutter, and urethane's making a comeback.
He really is.
And I like it. Personally, that's what I started
It's predictable. I
Yeah.
mean, it's predictable, and that's the key. I mean, it's no different in the 70s and late 80s, or mid to late 80s to when, urethane came out, and it was kind of too strong at times. Guys went back to rubber and plastic just to get that more predictable look.
Right.
And here we are in a different era, but it's the same thought process.
And there's a lot of people that are, they're talking down on it about the urethane coming back, but I don't have a problem with it.
With the power, the power of some of the players nowadays and the revolutions they can get. I mean, it's exactly like in the 70s days when you had Roth and Holman and those guys that came out with all these the power hands they had, and they could use something a lot weaker and be in the same area that these guys are in. So
Ryan Burks is the other person who has a bye. And he was the leader this morning. But yeah, some of these urethane balls are coming out with track flare.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when they started coming out with the reactive, and I was like, why don't they make a urethane ball that flares? And I don't think a lot of the manufacturers were on board with that at the time, but.
But the companies nowadays, I mean, they are so involved in what their players and their staff players are doing. They know exactly what's needed anymore, and and they don't miss the opportunity to bring it out there if they know that's something they need in their bag.
Yeah, and then people and they're bringing back the vintage urethane. I grew up throwing the hammers, the blue hammer, the burgundy hammer, the purple hammer.
When the hammer came out, it was similar to when the angle came out. They all just set a whole new records, and I mean it just changed the whole way that the tour was played.
Yep. And I remember when Reactive came out, the Excalibur, the very first one.
Oh gosh.
And I remember somebody here in town, I think it was Steve Hartman. Steve, if you're listening, it's the first time I ever saw somebody throw an Excalibur, and it looked like somebody kicked it on the back. And
that's the exact thought process. Yeah, that we
nobody had seen that.
Well, on tour we were I can't remember the years now, but I mean it was first stop was L.A. and in the winter tour that year in January, and the gentleman brought in a handful of those balls that apparently making them
in his basement,
in the garage or whatever they're doing. Yeah. And those came out, and it's like a few people had them, and then all of a sudden Mark McDowell got one, and and you're right, that was the exact wording was it looked like somebody kicked it in the back end. And then all of a sudden, Mark McDowell wins, and it's like, whoa, man.
Yeah,
it's
kind
a
of blew
whole
from
new
there.
game. Yeah. And then later that year, the Purple Rhino came out, and things that were similar, not quite as violent, but similar.
And that was the violent is not what we needed then.
It definitely wasn't something I needed. I was too soft in speed, and you talk about double timing on the back end. It was like, man, it was more like washout Big Five for me every time. So.
Yeah, I remember I had an Excalibur.
Had to be early 90s, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there?
It was right around when I graduated high school in 93, and I think it was 92, 93.
I think
it
was 92 because that was the Purple Rhino came out later in that year, and that's where I won Green Bay when I used it.
And, I also bought I think the next one I got was a Teal Rhino Pro, which was a really good ball for me.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to switch a camera really quick.
Sure.
I will be right back.
Right ahead. You continue to practice as the competition has started. 2 games in this format this round. Still, everybody's looking a little confused a little bit here and there.
All right, moved one of the cameras over so we can get another pair here and get some more people on. I believe that's Jimmy Cook getting ready to bowl on lane 15. He usually has a shirt with his name on his back. That's definitely him. You know, he's bowled our Lafayette Open every year, and he seems like he's in every tournament that I see him bowling.
Yes. Yeah, he seems to be able to adapt to anything that's thrown at him out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to adapt and be consistent. It's another thing to adapt and win.
Right.
Which he seems to be able to do.
Let's see what line he's playing. Yesterday when I watched him in the first squad, he was swinging the lane quite a bit. He's playing quite a bit tighter than what he was yesterday. Excuse me, unless that's a miss. Like a big miss.
On the right line there, it looks like we have 4 in a row. This is for 5.
Yeah. Who is that?
The shot right here
Two-hander.
for 5.
Oh,
wow.
He got it, I think. Yeah.
Great action on that.
What is your opinion of the two-handers?
You know, obviously it's phenomenal what they can do. I mean, Jason Belmonte is just, you know, you take the velocity, the power, the accuracy.
Yeah.
You know, it's night and day. Obviously, not every two-hander is Jason Belmonte. So, but what Jason and some of the guys can do is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously, changed the game. Has changed
it has.
the game.
It has.
You know.
I know. You know, back when I was a kid, we used to play around throwing two hands. It's
right.
like, I don't see how you can ever be accurate doing that. And I mean, I think there's a lot of strength involved.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the other thing too is if you look back into the '80s when Mike Miller tried the one-handed, held down the side.
Yep.
You know, Mike was with his thumb on the ball, very straight, not a lot of revolutions. Casher, somewhat consistent, but not a lot. When he took time off, 6 months to a year, came back, and he had that drop down with just the 2 fingers in there and the revolutions he could create, and then won the PBA National Championship. It was like, whoa, wait a minute. And then stress fractures hit, and then it was like, oh, this, nobody can keep up with that because of the physical restraints to it. But so far, obviously, with the longevity of Jason and players, the two-handers, there doesn't seem to be a drawback in the physical part of it.
No,
so.
I mean, I think that's what a lot of people said in the beginning is, eventually your back
or something,
your shoulder, arm.
Yeah.
They do a lot of twisting and torquing with their hips and
it's
back.
quite phenomenal. I'm not sure if I tried it where I would what hospital I would end up in, but it would not be pretty, that's for sure. But yeah, it's totally phenomenal. Changed the game. I mean, and the amount of revolutions and depending on what ball they're using, you want to talk about changing the lane condition.
Yes.
I mean,
you
can just see the oil peeling off the lane right there. I mean,
and then the pin action they create. Because it's
like
just
we
phenomenal.
just watched on the last shot for a 5 in a row. I mean, pins are flying everywhere.
Yeah.
And they can shoot spare, and the two-handers shoot spares too. So it's not like it's
and they do
all or none.
Yeah, they do it with the 2 hands.
No, that's quite a phenomenal.
Didn't Mike Miller go back with the thumb?
He did. He did to
spares?
try to finish his career. Yeah. But I think that probably was scared a lot of people off from trying it. After that, because it took some physical. I mean, you had to have a strong arm, forearm, back, all that to do that. Let alone do it well.
Yeah. Yeah, in college there was a kid who bowled for Purdue, Joe Rupp. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. I think he lives in the Indy area. But he threw a 2-hand, and he was good.
Here we are for 6, I think. 6 in a row on 15.
Ooh, he got it. Oh, no, it's 7-pin.
Yeah, left the 7, yeah.
I got to look in our monitor here.
It blew the rack all over the place, though. I mean, it's amazing something didn't hit that. I don't know what kind of ball he's throwing, but, I mean, it looks to react just very smooth and clean, and that's what you look for in anything, whether you got a thumb in a ball or not. I mean, you're looking for something that's going to be a clean, normal look that's not going to get you in trouble.
And on a condition like this, you want to stay out of trouble.
Yeah. Here's where I would have trouble, just trying to figure out how to throw the ball and get the 7-pin. Do you try to hook at it? Do you throw hard and straight?
Yeah.
What do you do? We'll see how he changes balls and
maybe your
goes a little more direct. Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem though. A condition like this, it's hard to, you don't see a lot of, smacking hands or running things up, but it's hard to get any kind of momentum going when you don't know where the ball's going to end up.
Jimmy Cook up here on lane 15.
Yeah,
Oh,
looks like he
almost-
gave that a little more room,
yeah.
but yeah. But once again, he's kind of more inside and going out, so he didn't get the same
No.
angle that the two-handed player's getting, because the two-handed player's going much more up the lane.
See, I always thought with the two-hand, the speed, you wouldn't have the speed.
Yeah.
But they have more speed.
Yeah. Wow, excellent
They
shot.
And I think some of the two-handers make some of these hard conditions probably seem a lot easier.
Mhm.
It's almost like they take the oil pattern out of play sometimes. So,
Yeah. Well, and if you watch Chase Beaumont, I mean, he can loft the lane as far as anybody in the world and
Yeah.
still be accurate and power and doesn't lose a thing.
So it looks like they're about 7 frames done through the first game. Top 13 overall of this. These 2 games move on.
Excellent shot there. Nice and smooth. If you look across at the Pindex, there's not. It's all spares.
Not a lot of strikes.
No.
And shooting a lot of spares sometimes gets mentally.
Yeah,
tiring.
I mean, it's tough to wait it out. And Jimmy Cook just can't get any breaks here. Blowout 7, solid 9.
Yeah, it just seems like when you're shooting a lot of spares over and over again, it just.
It's tough not to start putting pressure on yourself to try to make strikes happen.
Yeah. Yeah, because at that point you're starting to think about your first ball,
Yeah.
and then you're missing spares.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah. Anytime you get out of your natural game a little bit and try to help, you're in trouble.
Oh, it was just given to. That's Nick Squires down there. He's throwing a fearless.
Ah.
So somebody in the office heard us talking. That's great. Thanks.
Well, it's the right choice.
Yeah, he looks good.
Looks very good. Yeah.
Where's he in the standings? That's just lane assignments. Squires. Oh, so he was. Didn't show place, but he was 838 yesterday, so he's 38
Yeah,
over.
250 in the last game. You
250
kind of
in
wonder
last
if did
game.
he find that?
Yeah,
Is that what
yeah.
he found the last game?
Yeah. Or did he just hit a good pair that had some friction?
Yeah.
And
You never know. Yeah.
here he goes
Just for
again.
a double. Yeah. Oh,
He got
wow.
that one way out.
Yeah. It just didn't look as smooth on that one either. And I guess you can miss it, like anybody else, you can miss the hit. And
Yeah.
kind of looked like he missed it a little bit. And obviously that's what you get out there when you miss. But very makeable spare for him, though. At least the guys around him will think that they got a chance now if he can miss. Because it's beginning to look like it wasn't possible for him. Good shot.
Easy spare.
Good shot. And, watching him when he comes back too. I mean, he has a great demeanor and just kind of takes each shot the same and relaxes and not highs and lows. You just kind of keep that
Yeah.
even keel, and that's what you need.
Yeah, he definitely looks like he's relaxed
Yeah.
out there. But when you're bowling pretty good, it's
Yeah.
easy to do.
It's easy to do, but it's tough to keep it.
Is it?
If you start thinking too much, then all of a sudden you start trying to do things that maybe you're trying to go above what's normal for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've all been in there,
Yeah.
in the zone.
Yeah,
As they call it.
That's exactly true. It really is.
See if you can carry. There
Yeah,
we go.
I got that
Nice
one down
shot.
and good. Yeah. That looks like lane 15. We got another string there, don't we? Coming up on the left. He's got,
That's Zach Weidman.
Zach looks like he's on, looks like 5 maybe? 5 in a row?
3 or 4, yep.
This one's inside, I think. Oh, inside and good. Great shot.
He's a bowler that's bowled pretty well in this event in the past, too.
That was a good look there. So he had an open frame or two to start the game, but boy, coming back strong.
So it looks like the next round is going to move in front of us. They're getting the scoring ready.
Kind of got it all going today. You're running all over the place, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, after this, we'll have to move some cameras. And
Oh.
we were talking to Jeff. I said, Jeff, just run your tournament. We'll adapt to what you do. We don't, he does such a good job. I don't
Oh,
want
wow.
to have him
They
change
are
anything.
nonstop, too. They do a great job.
Mhm.
We were laughing earlier. It's like, wow, you guys used to do this stuff with, like, legal pads and some pencils, didn't you? Now it's like,
Yeah, and some of the early tournament programs are back on the DOS system before Windows. Well, I think you had Windows, but
yeah.
now everything's so automated. I think some of the scoring systems nowadays will run tournaments. Will just
Yeah.
feed the scores right back.
Yeah, with all the cameras, you can't get away with anything anymore. You got to be a little careful what you do. Be on your best behavior.
Uh-huh.
Oh, let's say that sounded like a missed single pin.
It was down on lane 21. Oh gosh!
Oh, my-
Oh, we
oh.
got it.
That one will definitely make you lose some sleep.
He's got to be wondering if he needs to make a little bit of a move.
Well, that's a tough one too. When
You
you're
know?
that close, I mean,
Yeah.
and it's hard enough to hit the pocket. So, a little fraction can give you some ugly-looking spares.
Right.
But
Neat.
you're right. He did leave that solid 9 over there once before
Uh-huh.
already.
So it looks like they're in the 10th frame. So hopefully make an adjustment here to see what he's got.
He's just so smooth. Gets the ball down the lane.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That looked good.
Great shots. I'll tell you, the last 6 or 7 shots were just unbelievable.
Right. I mean, yeah, he should have.
He could have had them all
6 or
through
7
there.
in a
Yeah,
row.
Yeah. That's a great pair. There's some great players
Mm-hmm.
on that pair.
Yeah, I know some of these eliminator formats, you're competing against your pair.
Oh.
And this would
Well,
be.
yeah, that would be a tough one. Yeah, somebody's going to miss out on.
Yeah, if you have 4 on the pair, 2
Yeah,
advance.
guys like that. Oh. Oh.
Oh, he got out of that one.
Yeah, just a little. I mean, he's close. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's close to where he was, but it's just not quite hitting it. Big speed there. Great shots.
Good. He's a bowler definitely to keep an eye on
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of the day.
All you gotta do is touch him.
Mm-hmm. With his speed, he doesn't have to
Yeah.
touch it hard.
Oh, somebody rolled the 10.
Yeah, they did. Zach still got
Keep
that,
that string alive, yep. Oh, trip 4. Nope, not the 9.
Still, he's got to feel pretty comfortable
Yeah,
moving into the
yeah.
next game. He's in that top
Yeah.
13.
That's direct again. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, he get.
It's almost like that one shot when he got it out a little wide. It's all of a sudden it gets in your mind a little bit. Did I lose my away? Now do I keep it too direct? And that's kind of pushing it towards the front there
Right.
a little bit. But still a strong game. Like I said, all you got to do is move on. That's the key.
Survive. And that thought of survival goes out the door if you make the top 4, though.
Yeah.
You want to win.
Yeah,
You got to shoot the highest
Yeah,
score.
it's different again. Yeah. Yep.
So these bowlers go down to the top 13. All scores will drop for the next round, and they bowl 2 more games. And I don't know what they got to. I think it's got to be 6 or 9, maybe, because then it goes down to the final 4. Some of our bowlers starting to arrive who have the buys. Matt Sanders over here to our left, stretching, getting loosened up. He's had quite a good couple years on tour.
He's done very well. Very well. Yeah, the talent out there, I mean, you've got to be ready to go.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think there for a while there was on tour was, I don't know how to explain it, but now it's definitely there's that young generation coming in.
Yep.
And making it much like when you were on tour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a lot of different players to watch.
Well, now with Fox coming in, and it's going to be,
It's
at
gonna
least
be
there's
awesome.
a good tour again, so at least an opportunity. So, you know, which is wonderful. And I think 4 on the regular network Fox and everything else
Yeah.
on FS1. And, you know, I'm really excited because Tom Clark and the PBA has created a Hall of Fame Classic, which is going to be the first week of January. I believe the show's on the 6th, Sunday. And where it's going to be from the bowling campus. And
nice.
so we'll have vignettes from the bowling museum. I'm currently now the president of the Bowling Museum and Hall of Fame, so
Okay.
in Arlington. So
Nice.
it'll be a big fundraiser for us as well. We're selling raffle tickets right now. You can buy them online at the Hall of Fame and Museum. Someone will get 2 tickets down there, airfare and a couple nights stay, and I'll give them a tour of the museum behind the scenes, and
Awesome.
we'll also be on the show, and it'll be a great event, which is a fundraiser for us, and that's all due to the PBA and Tom Clark, and
Awesome.
we greatly appreciate that for them. It's the VIP experience.
Yeah, no kidding. I love that there's going to have so many more events next year.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's nice. I mean, to know that there's tournament. You know, I was very fortunate when I bowled. I mean, you know, it was usually 36 tournaments, and you kind of knew when it was going to be from January
Yep.
to, you know, the end of May, and June to August, and then September to October, and, you know, then you had the month of December off, and then you start again. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
it was very fortunate back then.
Yeah, I think they've added a little bit more of a travel component back into it, like
Yeah.
when you were on tour. I always liked following you guys, and they're here this
Yeah.
week, they're here this week, they're Indy this week, you know.
Yeah.
And I know it's got to be hard traveling like that and being away from family. And
It was weird for me, you know, because we'd always go out west for the holidays, and but the tour would always start L.A. or San Francisco or
Yep.
Vegas, and by the time I got back to my house, it literally was March, because we would do, you know, L.A., Vegas, Dallas, Miami, Baltimore up that way, and then you'd finally get a chance to drive home for a day or two. And but, you know, when you're on, you know, for me it was a blast. I mean, I just I was so fortunate and enjoyed being out there. And,
Right.
And you know, some years better than others, but you know,
Of
that
course.
goes.
yeah.
But yeah, very fortunate.
All right. So Scott talked about earlier how the link on the Indiana State USBC.com was not working. It has been fixed. So if you're looking for the live stream through there, the link is on the Indiana State USBC.com. Or, of course, you can go to the savagebowling.tv on your PC or laptop. Or if you're in your YouTube app on your smartphone, just search Savage Bowling TV. It's right there. It'll say live. Just click, and you'll hear us and see us. So I'm going to switch a camera over because they're moving lanes now. I think I can do this without even having to move my headsets.
If you hear a noise, we know what happened, right?
I fell off.
You
I
fell
fell off
the
the
stage
platform.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave us a little bit smaller table than what we would normally have. And that's because they have to run this tournament. They need a lot of tables in there.
Yeah.
It's a big tournament.
It
lot
is,
going on.
Yeah, if you guys out there have not seen it, I mean, it's quite the
It's just-
opportunity to see how it really worked at the state level. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Indiana, we are so fortunate on the opportunities and the things that are happening in the bowling industry because, we have Scott Devers here, who's a partner of mine at Arrowhead. I mean, Scott does a tremendous job in
Yes.
hosting events and just obviously on a tour for years and a PBA champion and. Scott dots the I's across the T's like nobody else, and so it just goes on from there. In the state, we're so fortunate. Whether it's bowling companies and pinheads, I mean, you name it.
Right.
We've got a lot of great bowling people here in Indiana.
Yeah, Big Four Sox is another one of our sponsors, and we talked to David Slavens yesterday, and actually did an interview. We'll probably show it later on today, but he explained about the socks, and it's a pretty nice product, and I'm looking forward to trying them out for sure. My feet hurt sometimes after I'm done bowling, especially after working all day if
Yeah.
I'm on my feet. So it's a great product. Going back to Devers, though, we were just talking today about the hospitality component, of Mike Albie's Arrowhead Bowl, and he really does make sure everything's perfect.
Well, Scott has great work ethic, and I think part of it too was our former partner here and Don Mitchell, who is a big proprietor at Indianapolis and a PBA Hall of Famer now. The first proprietor ever to be
Deserves it.
elected to the PBA Hall of Fame. So, Don sponsored me, when I started the tour, and Royal Penn and Don Mitchell. I mean, they gave me a deal to go out on tour that was unheard of. I mean, it basically was a handshake deal, and it was one of those deals where they paid all my expenses, and if I had a loss, they took the loss, and if I won, they took their expense back, money back, and no cut of the other funds.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
and I had a 5-year deal to do that. I mean, I was fortunate enough to win the 11th tournament I bowled in. So, but the opportunity Don gave me was just phenomenal, and then also to help Scott and I get into Arrowhead here, and in 1997 when we bought, and so. And then Scott has taken that, to the next level as well. So
Yes.
we were so fortunate here and are.
Yeah, we ran the Boilermaker Classic, Scott and I did, back in October. And
Blowout
yeah,
7-10.
yeah. And the thing Scott did for us was, great.
Yeah.
I mean, always making sure we were okay. Do you need anything?
Yeah, he's
know,
a doer. He's
yeah.
one of the doers.
Yeah.
And he served, on the board of directors of the National BPAA and several committees. And, Scott, he won one of the big awards last year or 2 years ago for BPAA. So, I mean, Scott's well recognized nationally
Yes.
as well. And he was quite the bowler.
Yeah, I remember him watching as a kid.
Out of Richmond.
Yep. His unorthodox style.
Yeah,
but it worked.
And that's the thing on tour. I mean, you saw all sorts of different physical games, but and especially on tour, the mental games is what separated everyone. You saw some games that were just beautiful games that you think, how could they not win? And for some reason, it just mentally
It's hard.
wasn't quite there. They got in pressure situations or what, and they just didn't throw it the same.
Yeah, that's one thing about bowling is nobody throws the ball the same.
No,
So really, if you're watching people bowl, it's not boring.
no,
I always liked.
and more diverse now than it ever has been.
Yes, yeah, with the addition of the two-handers.
Yeah.
Some people are even throwing backup balls now.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're switching mid tournament to a
Yeah.
backup ball and winning.
We get an interesting look now of the pair we were watching on 15 and 16.
Yeah, now they're down on 21 and 22.
Yeah, so now we can see behind them a little bit and kind of get an idea where they're at, how they were playing them.
Zach had that string earlier. He's a little bit farther in than what it looked like
Yeah.
from our vantage point.
But he does a good job of getting the ball to float down the lane before it starts to take its turn, to the left. And although he'd probably like to go a little bit longer on that one and got that 9 out of there, but it was a
Right.
great shot.
Week 10.
Not quite,
I've seen
yeah.
a lot of those. All right. They just give us a standing sheet. So after the first game, here are our top 13 players. Leading away, Zach Weidman, who we just saw leave that solid 9. Gene Perez with 243. Zach had 247. Nick Squires, who we saw, the two-hander on 15 and 16. He's in third with 234. Mike Litch, 233 in fourth. Greg Holford with 232. He's in fifth. Daniel Freeman, 231, is in sixth. Jimmy Cook, who we saw, who's on this pair on 21 and 22. He is in seventh with 225. Brandon, if I say this wrong, I'm sorry, Brandon. Stogdill, 223. Jeff Grego in ninth with 216. Ryan Mooney, 206 in 10th. Our very own Scott Gilmore in 11th with 206. So that's a tie right there. Jeff Snuffer, 203 and 12th. And Lee, rounding out the top 13, Chris Curry with 201. 14th is our, I believe it might be the only female in the field, Shelby New. She had 199, so she's 2 back. So a lot can happen. There's a few more 190 games here, but a lot can happen between now and the 10th frame. And as I think we've seen every squad, you get it that fresh and the scores are kind of high.
Yeah.
So all 13 of those players are plus. So. And you have Mike Lish there on, we mentioned his name. He's on lane 20. That was Gene Perez on lane 19. And Zach just left 2-8-10 on 22.
I think it was Gene the one that threw the blowout 7-10 that we saw on lane 20.
It might have been.
So, you know, obviously as tight as it is there, one frame can do it.
Right.
A little loft, a great shot by Mike there.
Yeah, now you're moving to a new pair and you're hoping they're the same.
Yes.
You don't want to
need to waste anything, right?
sit there and shoot some spares trying to get lined up.
Yeah, it was Gene that threw the 7-10.
And pin count's really valuable. I mean, it's like Zach there just only took out the 8-pin on that spare.
Look at these two pairs here. It's almost like 6 out of the 13 are right here.
Uh-huh, right. Jimmy Cook.
Wow, pretty shot.
Yeah. Here's Gene on lane 20. I think he only owns purple hammers. That's all. Every turn I see him bowling, that's what he's throwing. But he gets a lot on the ball, so he's one of those players that probably could benefit from urethane.
Oh, good shot.
So did you feel that throwing urethane versus reactive, with urethane, did your release have to be more spot on?
To carry, yeah. Yeah, once you got to the reactive, if you could use it, you wanted to use it. You know, you try to find ways to set up your reactive to imitate urethane in a way in the reaction part, but in the hitting part, yeah, it was night and day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, more the 4 into the 7, 6 into the 10, 5 into the 10, you know, all that stuff. You know, you're throwing pins all over the place with reactive.
Right.
Yeah, I would always try to find something, if I could, to, you know, simulate the urethane roll, but the hit of the reactive. It's funny watching old shows because, you know, you look at the urethane, you know, at the time you thought you were hooking it, and it's like,
It looks weird now.
wow. Looks like it just sets up on the back.
Yeah, every once in a while, somebody posts an old show on Facebook or something, and even watching somebody like Pete Weber.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
And you're thinking, that ball swing's gonna go.
Just kind of lays up.
Yeah. It's so weird now. Just like reactive was weird when it came out.
Well, especially you still have to play fourth arrow and even get in deep, and sometimes you kind of hold on to your head there, and hopefully you didn't leave at least 3 of the back row.
Yeah. Except sometimes, back then when you're playing fourth arrow, it'll look like you're throwing a straight ball.
Just fading it back.
Yeah, because
fade.
the ball didn't do
It would
much.
just fall back to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But you could jam it in there all day, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I was watching one. I can't remember what it was, and I'm like, how is he carrying? It just looks like it hit flat. It would hit flat every time.
And usually the guys got the show. They were the ones carrying. There's other guys doing that and leaving, all sorts of stuff. But once again, it's back to the middle game.
Mm-hmm.
You had to be able to know that you were going to take some lumps. I mean, there's
Yep.
going to be some shots where you got a little too quick and maybe it didn't fall back flush and it fell back half pocket, and you were going to take that, half of the rack. But mentally, you just had to keep putting it in there, and believing it was going to work.
Yeah, eventually you're gonna.
Yeah.
If you're not carrying, eventually you're gonna start
Yeah.
carrying.
Ooh.
Oh,
Roll the 10.
that's the thing you're talking about. Mental is you're not carrying, then you start fishing around,
Yeah.
and then you lose the lane.
Then you lose your game. I mean,
Yeah.
you just lose your whole physical
Yeah.
game, and then you're not throwing the ball even right to make the adjustment.
A lot of guys nowadays, you see them just switching balls left and right
Well,
just to
that's
try to get
kind of
carry.
where it's went. I mean, that's kind of
And,
where it's went. It's more of the equipment type of thing. But the guys that do well, it's like the mental game. They have the mental game. You could roll there. But it's a mental game, but it's also trusting in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely have to know your equipment.
Know your equipment. Yeah. Just because you got 10 balls in the building doesn't mean
Yep.
you're going to go pick the right one. You got to know what they do. Oh, great wall action there by Mike Lish.
And he knew we got away with one there.
Looks like we got a little bit of struggle on a couple of guys who are in the top 13 in this game. So
yeah, this is a game where you can see some people down
well,
in the
you
lower
start.
part bowl
Last
really
thing you want to do
well.
is start looking at the scoreboard. You
Yep.
know, I mean, you can't be doing that. Playing it safe is usually it's like, oh, I only need 8. No, you get guarantee it's 7. You just can't do it.
I remember talking to Parker Bone one time. He was bowling. It was in Indianapolis, and he said, "The object of the game is just to knock down
Yeah.
as many pins as you can. That's all I do."
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh. It just never registered to me that way,
Yeah.
And,
Well,
he's right.
it's inevitably when you think, oh, wow, I only need this or that. When you start trying to do that,
Yeah.
even no matter where you're playing on the lane. I mean, there's times when Ballard threw his gutter ball and things like that. Those affect you. But if you're not all out, I mean, the odds are you're not going to do it anyway.
Right.
He came back and won the very next week after he did that. So.
I can't imagine that happening and being able to forget about it.
Oh.
Because knowing you got to bowl a tournament
Well,
in a couple days.
Dell was one of those guys that he was kind of like a solid 8 by Gene there. But Dell was one of those guys that he was just a worker. He knew his game, and once he got on it, he was on it. I mean, he could keep putting it back in there and clutch player. But he was such a good-natured guy, or is a good-natured guy. I mean, Dell, even when he threw the gutter ball to lose in Baltimore, the next week we're in Long Island, and Long Island has a state law where they had to have the Heimlich maneuver poster in restaurants. So somebody had borrowed that from the snack bar at the bowling center we were bowling in and put it in the paddock, and they put his picture over the Heimlich maneuver and put the Ballard maneuver. And it's cruel, but he took it so well.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of those things that he knew, hey, I gave it everything I
Can't do
had,
anything
and it
about it
didn't
now.
work out,
Yeah.
you know. So, and then he ends up winning that week. So, I mean, and that's the kind of players and the player Dell is. But, I mean, he was one of those guys that didn't, you just go out there and you do your best you can do, and that's you lay it all out there and, see where you end up, He's also the guy that won the first $100,000 in the U.S. Open. So I
remember that.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, he had a song in his head, and he did his thing in Tacoma that year, and he won. Not going to make it back there on 20. Not seeing as many strikes from these guys that we
Nope.
saw the first game.
Nope. Looks like Scott is
Yeah,
down
it's a
there.
3-9. Yeah, 3-9 over there on the left hand of our
18.
screen there on 18.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a 3-9 by Scott.
And I was watching him bowl a little bit yesterday, and he'd lick it out, and that's what
He'll
that's
wiggle
what
a little
happened.
bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Mike Lish with knocks the 4 out, leaves the 9.
Maybe that's a payback for Scott.
Yeah, that. His
So what's
adjustment
going
off
through
that
my
Wally
mind?
one,
Yeah,
yeah,
of
real
course.
light one.
Ryan Birchfield on lane 20. See if we can get this spare. He got it.
And Ryan was in 20th with the 164 the first game.
Looks like our Tim Logan. He's a local bowler. He was second overall yesterday. And
Oh,
he's
wow.
24th. He only had a 153.
I mean, that's just how it can turn around, right? I
Well,
mean,
look at this. We watched Zach Rhodes warm up.
yeah.
And he was striking. He shot
Oh,
141.
that's right. Yeah, he
Mhm.
was throwing it great.
Yeah. Yeah. Lights come on.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Good shot.
Yeah, good release. Great action. Nice and direct. Ball smooth. Hits hard. Looked good.
Man.
He throws a good
He
shot.
can-
It's not getting the right angle. Well, Nick Squire's on, what, 21 here? I mean, he's looked to be struggling this game. I mean, he's definitely not throwing the string he had the first game.
No.
But he's close. It looks like he's close, but off just a little.
He was starting to lose that last game, so maybe it's something
Yeah.
mentally, physically, or the lanes are just changing.
Yeah, changed just
you know.
take you out of your comfort
He's
zone.
kind of he might have the same thing.
Well, he's changed balls.
Oh, he did.
Wow, that ball
lot
sat
more
there.
direct.
Yeah, good speed, good carry. I would put that in the good move area right there. That was a good
Yeah.
one.
I think with that line, it's just he's going to carry that
Yeah.
10 pin. That 10 pin fell late.
Whoa, Mike Leash coming up high on that one. Looked like a good loft, but sometimes when you loft, you get a little extra,
Yeah.
on the end and lift, so you get that ball to jump. Got a good break though. Tripped 4 out and leaves the 10.
Jimmy Cook up on lane 21.
Got a little deeper in that one, but great
Yeah.
shot. I don't think I've seen him throw a bad shot yet.
No. I mean, everything's
He
been in
hasn't
the
got
pocket.
rewarded. He hasn't got rewarded for
Yes.
all those shots, but good spirit.
Oh, wow. Another great shot for him. Who is that? Who's that guy down there? I know some of these bowlers, but others I don't know.
Wow,
Great
pretty
shot.
ball. Yep, pretty ball. Not going to leave. Although, I mean, that ball's certainly driving through the pins. I mean, you can see the nines. I mean,
Yeah.
you can see why he's left them. The ball's just so sharp. There's Nick on the right. Perfect ball.
Yeah, he's got a good look now.
That looked even better than the one
Uh-huh.
he threw on the left lane. Wow, nice
Wow,
ball.
that
John.
came back from.
Gene Perez there on 20. That was a great shot.
Mm-hmm.
There's not going to be a 7-pin left on that shot.
Oh. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, Motive Bowling, Pinheads, Mike Alby's Arrowhead Bowl, Big Four Socks, and of course Indiana State USBC. We're here for the first round of the semifinal. Well, I guess it's the first semifinal round of the Indiana State Scratch Classic at Mike Alby's Arrowhead Bowl. Chad Lester here with Mike Alby himself. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Jeff said he was going to ask. I said, sure.
Yeah, it's good to be here. I always enjoy coming up and watching the tournaments and enjoy being around Arrowhead. We just we really love our center here. And
Yeah, notice they're putting in new ball returns.
yeah, we got new ball hoods and returns. Which you know, I mean, the other ones look great. I mean, but you know, they're
The
older.
original
They're
ones.
older, yeah, but
Yeah.
they're older. But you know, the new returns are from U.S. Bowling, and with the lower racks in today's game, you know, especially the Scratch Classic, and
Yeah.
we have the state tournament coming back again, the Open Championships, and you know, the extra ball spaces always comes in handy. As I
Oh,
can
yeah.
tell you,
Yeah.
I use too many balls. I don't know if I can use one anymore, so it's like it's always good to have extra space.
Yeah,
so.
when I come out here in Bowl League, people have ball
Oh,
cups
everywhere,
everywhere. You know,
yeah,
and
yeah. So that's a good piece, and we're continuing to do things here, and looking. Hopefully, next season we'll have a whole new change. Some other things we're going to be doing.
Awesome.
So we're looking forward to that.
good. And I love the masking units that you guys put those in
Yeah.
last year.
Last year, or about 18 months ago.
18 months ago.
hmm
Of course, you have
Those are
the-
U.S. Bowling as well.
Okay.
We redid our banquet room, and
Yeah, that's
and,
nice.
Yeah, so we continue to look to make changes and add things, and
Yeah, if you haven't been here to Bowl, that's a beautiful center. Along with these masking units, they have the pull-down screen, so they show
yeah,
you can show music, videos,
Exactly, yeah.
movies.
yeah, yeah. They're the size
kinda-
of two pair of lanes, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's kind of where bowling's going.
It is.
Focusing more on the recreational side.
Well, you know, we're a traditional center, so
Mhm.
but you know, we definitely dabble into what's going on in the industry in this
Yeah.
day and age, and but you know, saying that, we have one of the best shops around with Tom Taylor
Oh.
in there, and you know, he has people come from all over the state,
Yeah, he
in
does.
Illinois,
Yeah.
and so we still take our the bowling industry, and the sports side of it
Mm-hmm.
very seriously here.
As you should, yes. Yeah, Tom's been at it for a long,
Yeah, a long time. Well, yeah, he was here when we came here,
Uh-huh.
so he was already here.
Yeah.
So, whoa, my.
Wow, that was a
Yeah, that was
weird
strange.
shot.
Real strange. He's probably happy with the 10 on that
Uh-huh.
one. Oh, beautiful shot there on 19. Gene.
Yeah, I know. Tom taught me some drilling stuff when I was drilling balls, so it was nice to learn from him. And
Yeah, and he's just one of those guys that cares. I mean, he
Yeah.
just cares about how he wants to learn about your game first and your release, and you know, it's start to finish for Tom.
yeah, you don't see too many pro shop. Well, and there's a few,
A few.
but pro shop owners who will go out there and watch you bowl
Yeah.
before you drill up a ball, especially if he doesn't know your game.
Well, you know, and it takes time. But, you know, some of the centers, like I said, we're talking about how the industry's changed. I mean, some centers, the pro shop's not even on their list to even have
Yeah.
anymore. So
Right.
it's a shame, but that's unfortunately the way it's going
Mm-hmm.
at times, you know. But not here. It must have been Jimmy's 10th frame, I take it.
Yeah, already. This game flew by.
Yeah.
So what we'll do when this round completes itself, we will actually sign off the live stream for about a minute or two, and then we'll start it back up. That way, if anybody wants to go back and watch, they don't have. If they want to watch a specific squad, they don't have to go through 6 hours of video to find what they want to watch.
Whoa.
So he got
Yeah,
away
he'll
with that.
yeah, he'll take that, yeah. Yeah.
He wasn't happy with that when he threw that.
It's a little bit wide, I think, but good speed. I mean, he gets good speed.
Mhm.
Must be a fill ball here for Jimmy. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
You got to think he would be in.
I would think he did enough. I mean,
He
he
didn't
certainly
look
hit
like
the
he bowled-
pocket enough, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't look like he bowled a bad game that
No.
game.
Because I'm not so sure there's big games out there to catch
No.
up. You know,
I
even
don't-
for the ones that are farther back, I'm not so sure that
I agree.
that's available to them there. Yeah, I think you picked you set the cameras up in the right spots. I think we saw some of the best pairs.
We did. We can thank Jeff for that, though, for lane assignments. Just the way it goes sometimes.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, it looks like they're all about
Yeah,
the 10th
winding down,
frame.
yeah. Oh, good roll there. That ball just seems to do what it has to do.
It does.
Wow, it's pretty
Gene
release
on his
there.
last shot was pointing at something in the
Yeah.
approach. I don't know if maybe he
Caught it,
stuck a little bit or.
yeah. That looked 100% there. That was a good
yeah.
one.
He doesn't look like he does much sliding, though, so
Yeah.
maybe he slipped.
There's a lot of striking going on in the practice pairs down here,
There
though,
is,
I've noticed.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh.
Looks like they're finishing up. Next round, we add back our 4 players who had buys, and it should start getting really interesting.
Wow, good spare. Nick left a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't leave many buckets.
No.
As you figure, the way he throws the pins around, there'd be something flying off
Something
the wall.
fall,
Take
yeah.
some of those out,
Yeah.
right? Good spare, though. That was great.
See if that
Yeah,
hurts
pretty solid
Zach
2
at all.
games, though. I think
Yeah.
it's pretty solid 2 games, I think, there.
Ooh, he almost had that.
Well, there's some excitement. Somebody liked that one.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that ball real direct.
Yeah, he
He's-
does.
That ball's just holding pocket, it looks like.
Yeah, he's taking that lane condition
Yeah.
out of
Mhm.
out of play, really.
Yeah. Which makes understandable why you see the bucket, because it was pretty, like I said, it's just
Yeah.
pretty much online, and
Yeah.
he's putting it where he starts. It's where he's putting it. Yeah, that's it. Mike Leash with the 2-8 over there on 19.
Yeah, his last couple frames have been kind of shaky.
Yeah.
And see Scott getting ready to bowl here on the 18.
Perfect.
Buried that one.
He liked it. That was a perfect shot.
Yeah, he had a little bit of dilemma. He's like, I want to do commentary, but I want to bowl.
Well, yeah, it's tough
It's
to
like,
think
well,
that,
you made it. You got to bowl.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was surprised he was doing a few minutes up here with me to start with. It's like,
Yeah.
probably ought to be thinking about your game here a little bit. You know, let's concentrate a bit. It's tough to do. It's tough to do it all. But I think he picked the right choice. He looks like pretty
Yeah.
good down there.
Maybe the mind off of it helps.
Sometimes there is positives to that. That's right. You can definitely outthink yourself.
Mhm.
What a great man, Sanders, what a great game he has.
He does.
Just the follow through is just so smooth and straight, and yeah, you just
He's almost got that traditional throwback style.
Yeah, mhm.
You know.
you can see a lot of Parker Bone in him there.
Yes.
You know, a lot of that long follow through, and Parker, Parker, Dave Davis, if you go back in the 60s and 70s, Dave Davis was that, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's where Parker grew up, in a center by Dave Davis and the
Oh.
East Coast. And if you ever see Dave Davis bowled back in the 60s and 70s, you're going to go, oh, I get it.
Makes sense,
I get
yeah.
it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Because even Johnny Petraglia and Dave Davis were very close in doubles and all that together, and
Mm-hmm.
Petraglia's game's a little more around the side, and
Yeah.
still a good follow through, but Dave is just that long, deep knee bend and that just straight follow through. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think those games, you stay in it longer.
Well,
before.
anything you can take the pressure off
Mhm.
a certain body part, whether, where guys would put extra pressure on there, like Rick Steelsmith, if you take one of Rick. Rick had one where he didn't open his shoulder up, but he still kind of opened it a bit, but not enough to where then he had rotator cuff
Yeah,
problems.
I remember.
And
He came back and won after
yes,
that.
he did. No, he did. But it certainly put a slowdown in his career
Yeah.
because those type of injuries. But anybody who can just be like if you remember Mark Roth, who was
Yeah.
not smooth by any means, always had the tore up hand. But then you look at Marshall Holman, who everything was just so fluid and never had any of those injuries.
Yeah. And you now have Pete Weber dealing with some
His
injuries.
hips,
and,
backs. Yeah, I mean, you got to figure some of that's got to be 50 years of,
Yeah.
of continual
It's
bowling, but
catching
it's
up with you, but
phenomenal.
you don't-
It's phenomenal what he's been able to do.
Yeah, you don't want to see guys like that go.
No,
you
no,
know,
not at
and,
all.
Hopefully he's around for.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. But yeah, no, he was so fluid with what he could do, or is fluid with how he throws the ball. That's why he stayed at the top for so long, for sure.
He competed with those young guys
Yeah,
for so long.
Still beating them. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
And he was the
phenomenal.
only guy doing it.
No, only one.
You
Yeah,
know.
very phenomenal.
And he's having really good success on the.
And Petey had
Senior
that
tour.
mental game to where he just it was win. It was he put everything he had into it, and you give him the opportunity, he's going to take it.
Yeah. All right. Looks like this round is over. We're going to go ahead and take a break and be back here in just a few minutes for the round of 9 here on Savage Bowling TV.